Installing a brass patchbox and pins on original Brunswick rifles. William Hovey Smith, 2016. I'm the author of Extreme Muzzleloading, and here we again revisit the Brunswick rifle, two guns made in the 1850s to do some minor additions and repairs.
This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. And once again, we have doings with the Brunswick Rifles. For those who are just starting with us, the Brunswick rifle was a rifle used in the British Empire. And it was the second rifle arm issued in any great numbers. This is the gun here. It is 75 caliber, 3/4 of an inch, and has two prominent rifling grooves with a mechanically indexed ball. I have two such guns, both of which were derived from the Royal Arsenal of Nepal. And I have numerous videos about these guns and how I've worked with them previously, cleaned them, restored them. Actually, in the case of this one, rebuilt from parts. I completely restocked it, for example. The steel is original, but all the wood components are new. And now, we're going to do some minor refinements both to the original and to the one I restocked. In Nepal, they didn't think very much of these guns, so they literally tore the brass patch boxes off them. So on this original, I have this just piece of wood put in its place. After a 2-year wait, I have actually received a raw cast brass patchbox assembly from the old rifle shoppy in Oklahoma. And I'll give you the address of that at the end. They have components for old guns like this when they have them. They're always in the catalog, but they may or may not be available until the next round of castings gets done. So on this gun, we're actually going to install and finish this patch box. On this one, there were two things I had not done. There's a brass wing that actually extends into the stock here, and another pair here and here. I did not put these in at the time because I only had hand tools. And I'm trying to grind and drill in a curved surface. And that is evil. You can't do that with a hand drill very nicely. So I now have a drill press, I now have a shop, I now have a way to support the gun. So we're going to put in these three pins today. What we've done here is braced up the gun between the vise and the drill press so it's as level as we can get it. We've also put it in this subsidiary vise here. We've taken our bit and we have wrapped it with some duct tape because it was too small actually to take the chuck. So now we're going to put it in the machine and clamp it down good. In this light you can see better, but you can see the brass where we actually penetrated the wings that actually inlet back in the stock. So we did exactly what we were intending to do. What I'm doing now, I've cut the pins to length with a Dremel tube from just a common nail. And that's actually what many of the Appalachian home rifle builders used anyway for these pins, were just common nails. And so now I'm trimming them with the Dremel tool and shaping it to the contour of the stock so I don't have this sort of thing sticking up in the stock. That is almost there. I'll take it out of the gun now and just take off this little bit that protrudes. Many people are interested in replacing the missing patch boxes on these rifles from Atlanta Cutlery and other sources. The replacement patch box here is, as I say, roughed cast, and the casting port, I've already grounded off both of these pieces, and that's what this hunk of brass is. It came off this side here. The box is latched with this steel hook. It's actually a piece of spring steel, and it's inlet both into the metal of the butt plate itself as well as into the wooden stock. Now, I'm fortunate in that this replacement actually looks to be maybe just a hair bigger than this inletting here, which is actually good, better bigger than smaller. Now, somebody gouged out a hunk here and here in prying this piece out of this stock, and I'll fill that with wax. Now, what was actually in these patch boxes? Well, patches, obviously. And this round thing, this round place in the back was for percussion caps. And I put a few belted balls in there because I actually hunt with my guns. And both of these guns have killed game, by the way. This one a deer and this one a wild hog.
This is the original gun's deer taken at Hard Labor Creek State Park. And here is a hog I shot last year in Florida with my reconstructed Brunswick rifle.
So these go into the field. They actually get used. So we're going to proceed to get started. We have work on the wood to do. We have inletting here. And we obviously have polishing here. And we also have to drill a hole through here for a steel pin that connects these two pieces together. We have put the two pieces of the patch box here together as they should be articulated. And that's where the pinhole should be, is right there. So we're going to clamp this in the vise and attempt to drill through these two pieces of metal. The drill bit is slowly gnawing through that thick piece of brass. This is going to take a while. Our drilling was not a success. The hole here was centered as it should have been, but the bit wandered diagonally across, as you see, ended right here. Now, we did pierce this member, but too low and at an angle. So consequently, what I'm going to do is take this down to the machine shop and have the guys with better equipment better locate this hole and actually re-drill it, rather than me try to attempt to fix it. Because with the equipment I've got, I don't think my attempt at fixing would be very successful. In the meantime, we're going to get started with the work here on the patch box itself. Okay. And that's go. This screw is actually broken off in the wood here. So I'm going to have to remove that to do something with that and put another plug in here to refresh this wood so I can actually put another screw in here. The butt plate is a little different in profile. So I'm going to have to do some shaping here to catch up this edge close. The other will fit fairly well. The inletting of the patch box, as such things go, is going to be sort of slow and tedious. One thing I'm going to do is I did manage to extract that broken off screw, so that is out of there. And I'm going to replace that wood with a split from this hickory and inlet it to make this flush, and also so I'll have something firm to actually sink the screw into when I re-drill it and fit it. So that's going to get done first. We have our block cut from our piece of pecan wood here, inlet into the stock now, and beveled in this direction to match the bevel here, so we can ultimately install our plate. What I'm going to do now is take the Dremel tool and use a cutoff wheel and slowly smooth the top of all these surfaces, so at least we get off to the same start when I start inletting the brass. Actually, that nice bevel I had on there had to go, because this arm here, this, is to actually clear and fit down in this groove here so the patch box will open. I've inlet this now into here, so this works flush onto the face of the stock. I'm now going to use the Dremel tool to work and expand this area here. I think this is actually more efficient and more precise than me attempting to carve it, particularly on this old brittle wood. We've got that part sinking down into the wood now. It's actually being held up on the inside in here. So we start working on the inside, start removing more material down until we finally get it about flush. Because this won't be able to be sanded actually with the wooden stock. It'll never be exactly a flush fit as if it would be were you able to sand both of them together. As is not unusual, a problem has arisen. The cast butt plate is nearly an inch too long. We could bring this whole mess back 3/4 of an inch or so, and then be able to use it in its proper position and have the nice little finger opening tab here, or cut it off here, replace this hole here, and hope for the best. Well, I think the latter solution is what we're going to do. Because I want to be a little more precise than other methods might allow, I'm going ahead and cutting it with the Dremel tool. With the electric Dremel tool, it goes pretty fast, as you'll see. Now after that cools, I'll put it on the belt sander and actually radius it to the contours of the stock. Now we begin the slow and tedious process of taking out this very thin line of wood right here, so we can actually fit this wider section of the patch box to the gun. We have the cover plate inlet now, so it's reasonably flush with the stock. I don't have this cross pin in here yet, but it comes down pretty well. Now this is where the latch is, right here, where I've got it outlined, and this is where I'm going to have to cut it. We drilled 3 holes, and so now we're going to take our Dremel tool and sort of make this more nearly rectilinear. And Dremel has a nice series of bits. This is among them. So exactly, it's trying to work. This strange looking piece of metal is the latch for the Brunswick rifle. I have toyed with several approaches of inletting this latch spring. And the best thing I've come up with is to deepen this channel right here and actually take this casting and cut it off right about there. Push it as far down as you can get in your channel. Then insert a wedge of wood in the firm wood here at the bottom of this patch box and glue all that together, and then you'll have this ovally long spring in a proper position to actually latch the lid. What we have done is we have installed the latch steel here, and the hook is facing the rear as it should be. This white piece of wood is a brace, not in the original, but I use it instead of a screw that they use to retain this pin. You can also see the new block we put right here. The box itself has now been polished, it's been articulated. There is a pin that runs through it now. This is just a common nail. We had a 1/8 inch hole drilled at the shop. They had to fill the holes I already drilled in order to get this one to go straight, but they managed that. So it lays in well, and there it latched. So everything is copacetic right now. Is now officially fitted. Now what remains is a screw goes in this hole. On the original, these were steel screws, and so they should be replaced with steel if you want to keep the original components of the gun the same. I am going to pre-drill a hole here straight down so the screw won't split this brittle wood. Now that gives it a little bit of purchase to start in. And so outside of setting the screw, yeah, here we're done. I have found a 150-year-old wood screw here. It was out of an old fixture in my house. And what I've done is reduced its diameter here. And I'm going to take the Dremel tool and thin this edge here so that we can get it seated more firmly down on the plate itself. We have completed our work on the Brunswick rifle. We have now our new patch box installed. Works, latches, holes. Yep, we didn't break through with the other side. That is a wormhole, by the way. The stock is reasonably solid, but it does have wormholes through. With our reconstructed one, which already had the patch box on it, we did install these ramrod pipe pins, which we were going to do, and also affix this front sight, which was getting loose. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. Good boys. Let's go out and kill something, huh? What's that? You want to do that? I think so.
Besides an extreme muzzleloading, I cover black powder hunting more generally in backyard deer hunting, and I have a specialized series of ebooks, including shooting and maintaining your muzzleloader, hunting with muzzleloading shotguns and smoothbore muskets, and hunting big and small game with muzzleloading pistols. Although not initially available, Patchboxes may be ordered from Atlanta Cutlery, or you can also get them from the Rifle Shoppe. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 550 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoviasmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.